Hello everyone, welcome to Southern Wreaths. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel and give me a thumbs up. Today I'm going to show you how I made this really pretty farmhouse wreath. These are the supplies I'm going to use to make this wreath. I did add in a brown striped ribbon later on. I'm going to start by adding pipe cleaners to my 14-inch wire frame. I'm adding one to each crossbar for the center ones, and I'm going across 2 bars. I'm twisting pretty tightly 3 times, and I'll finish the middle doing that. And then to do the outside, I'll just pick a random crossbar to start, doing the same thing, twisting 3 times. This time though, I'm going to lay the pipe cleaner along the second bar from the outside. Where that ends is where I'm adding my next one. When you twist them, you want them to be tight, but you don't want them to be so tight that they bend your frame. And then I'll just do this all the way around. You end up with 14 ties on a 14-inch wire frame. So I'm going around and opening up the outside ties. This just makes my life easier. I decided to do a 21-inch jute mesh base. It's a really good neutral color. It goes well with a lot of things, and it covers really well. I'm going to add the mesh. I'm going to gather it, and then I'm going to add it just to the left of the pipe cleaner that's on the crossbar. And then I'm just going to pull it over the pipe cleaners that are there. So when I finish, it'll be like a perfect circle. And I might be able to show you that when it goes around. I just like to use zip ties to attach the mesh and finish the mesh to my frame. This just ensures that it's not going to go anywhere. I'm going to use my mat to help me measure. I'm going to do 12-inch poofs. And I'm just going to twist 1.5 times because I'm going to add more stuff. And I'll do this going all the way around the outside. Pretty simple. Okay, so once I get to the very last one, you'll see that I place it where that mesh began. And then I can just pull the pipe cleaners around and then just twist it just like I've done the rest of them. And this just makes a perfect circle. So to move to the inside, I'll open all of my ties on the inside, and then I push the mesh to the closest pipe cleaner, and then I'll twist 1.5 times. You can see that the pipe cleaners get kind of close together. If that bothers you, you can try to twist them separately. In the end, you don't really see it, so it doesn't really bother me. And then I'll just continue doing the poofs all the way around like I did on the outside. Once I finish and I get to the very last poof, I'll open it. See, you can see here they're really close together, so if that bothers you, you can move it further away. But I'll open that pipe cleaner and then I'll add the mesh in. So again, this makes a perfect circle. There's like no beginning or end, it all goes together. And then I'll just push it through the 2 poofs and attach it to the frame with my other zip tie. And if you're just doing this for yourself, you don't have to use a zip tie. You could just use the pipe cleaner. But if you're selling it, it's probably a good idea to make sure it's not going to go anywhere. And then I'll just trim that mesh away. If anyone's interested in following me on social media, you can find me on Instagram at Southern Wreaths More, on Facebook at Southern Wreaths, and I also have a Facebook group called Southern Wreaths and More. I would love to see any of the wreaths you've made, especially if you do any based on my videos. That would be amazing. I also have all of these links in the description below. I had half a roll of this 10-inch mesh, so I decided to use it to make some curls. I'm cutting them at 10 inches, and I'm just using my mat and my rotary cutter. And I only cut 14 of them, so there's 1 for each section. And they're so close to the bottom of the roll that they roll like really well already. You just want to make sure they're all about the same size. And then I kind of put it in the center, and I'll wrap it all the way around. And I also wanted to add this rope. I'm cutting the rope at 24 inches. I do only end up with 6 pieces. I'm not sure how I miscalculated, but so you might want to make yours a little bit smaller. But it kind of works out because where I was putting the sign is where I just didn't put those ropes. And I'm doing these in every other section. So if you had a couple packs of that, you could do 1 in each section. I like having the different textures. It's got a lot of different browns, and I really like the way that came out. And then I'm just basically putting it right on top and then twisting it. I'm not even opening any of the ties. And then this one I'll just do the curl. And the fun thing about the ropes pieces being so long, you can kind of move them around so it kind of covers more area than just where it's at. Kind of the same with the curls too. You can move stuff around. This is what it looks like when it's done. And now I'm just going to cut my ribbon. I added in a brown stripe ribbon because I wanted just the netting ribbon on a bow, but I wanted 4 different kinds of ribbon in the wreath. So I'm just using my 12-inch piece of cardboard and wrapping the ribbon around it. I'm just going to do 7 of each ribbon. And then once I get it cut, I'm just going to slide my scissors in and cut it. Yes, I'm using baby scissors. I still have not purchased any. Hopefully this week. But they work. And then after I cut them, I like to dovetail the ends. So I just fold it in half and then cut from the wire to the crease at an angle. And I'll do that with all the ribbon, except for the netting ribbon. You can't really do it with that. You can, and you just can't tell that it's like that, so it's just better to just keep it square. So I like to stack the ribbons the way I'm going to add them. It just makes things a little bit easier. You'll take the 2 pieces, or however many pieces of ribbon you have, and you'll fold them in half to find the center, and you'll crease it. Then when you open it, you can just pinch at that crease and then add it into the pipe cleaner. Once you're done adding things, you'll twist it 3 times, and then I like to take a glue stick and roll down the center of the pipe cleaner. And then you'll just fluff your ribbon. The way you fluff your ribbon is completely up to you. I like to do an X. And then I'll show you with another one. And you're basically just putting it on top of you are putting it on top of the pipe cleaners. If you wanted to open them, you can. It's just not necessary. It doesn't really make that big of a difference. And I really wanted the ribbon to show up, but not be like what this whole wreath was about. If you want your ribbon to be more prominent, where you can't see as much of your mesh, I would suggest making longer pieces of ribbon. It covers better. I always like to cut mine at 12 inches. I just think it looks good that way. And here I'm going to show you, you do the outside the exact same way as the inside. You just kind of fluff it different. Instead of it being more of an X, it's kind of like a butterfly, where it's kind of straight across and then the outside flares out. And that's what it looks like with all the ribbons on it. So my sign was not small, but it was rectangled, so it only took up a little bit of the wreath. So I decided there was room for a bow. I'm doing this part by hand because the ribbon goes in one direction. You don't have to do that. It doesn't really, unless people are actually scrutinizing your wreath, it doesn't make a big deal. But I personally wanted them all to be facing the same way. And then you do have to cut a tail separate when you do it that way, because if not, it'll be upside down. Your seam on the ribbon would be upside down. And I just did that part by hand, and I left a tail on that as well. You can always do your tails after the fact. It is completely up to you. I did 4 loops on the bottom, and I'm going to do 4 loops of this one. And then on top of that, I'll do the 4 of the netting. I wanted to put the netting on top because it's so see-through. And it really stands up really well. So wherever you mold it to put it is where it stays, which is really cool. You could probably put a ribbon over it and pop it up, and that would look nice too. I'm not 100% sure how big my loops are, but I think my finished bow was about 12 inches. And I always twist away from myself in the middle when I'm using my bow dabra. You don't have to twist away from yourself, it's just a habit to do that, but I always twist it in the middle. And then I'm just going to slide my zip tie behind it. And then I'll just get it started so I can pull it up off of the bow dabber without it falling apart. And then I'll move the zip tie over to the center, and you'll be able to plainly see the center because it's creased. Then I add my pipe cleaner, and then I tighten. And then the fun part, which is fluffing everything. I was just pulling my tails down, and then I trim them to dovetail. And then I'll just go through, and I like to alternate the loops. So like where there's a cream loop, then I'll try to move a red one in between it, and then cream, and then red. And then of course the brown, I want it in the middle where I wanted it fluffed where you couldn't see the center. I ran out of white pipe cleaners and only had one black. So I just cut it in half and left a little bit on one side so that I could twist it. Just for me, it feels like it's a little more secure. So you can always do that if you don't have two pipe cleaners. I do have other ones, they're just orange and blue, and I didn't want to do that. So I lay stuff on there to get an idea of where things are going to lay, and then I'll add it. And I'm just feeding the pipe cleaner through to the back, and then I'll wrap it around my frame. Usually you twist it around each other because you have a bigger pipe cleaner, but here I just had the one piece, so you just roll it around it until it sticks back up towards the wreath, because you don't want it sticking out of the back because it could scratch someone's door. And here's the other side, it's the same thing. And I was happy with where it was, so I just kind of moved some of the ribbon out of the way. And then I'll add my bow. I played around in my head with where I wanted to put the bow, but in the end I decided to put it off to the side. I really love how the netting ribbon reminds me of the chicken wire in the picture or the sign. And this one I'll just twist around the frame and then twist the excess around the bar. And that's it. I'll just go through and fluff everything and keep messing with the ribbons till I'm happy, and that's how I made my farmhouse wreath. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, or you can always email me at craftingwithlee@yahoo.com. Thank y'all so much for watching, and if you learned anything today or if you like my video, please like, share, subscribe, and give me a thumbs up. Thank you.